Hello, Elisa here. Welcome back to my channel and welcome to this exploration, flip through discussion of The Wisdom of the Shadow and The Wisdom of the Divine Feminine by Jenny Han and Jessica Ricchetti. You guys, okay, so I didn't have these on my list. I didn't have the wisdom. Let me back up. The Wisdom of the Shadow, I've been hearing people talk about this deck for the longest time, and all of the reviews I've heard of it have been very, very positive. I really enjoy using cards for shadow work, so this intrigued me, but I felt like I had this category kind of covered with my Reclaim Oracle and other decks that I tend to reach for. But I will admit I was definitely curious about it, and then they went and freaking launched another campaign for the Wisdom of the Divine Feminine. And then I was like, well, I'm really intrigued by this one, so might as well back them as a bundle, right? Does anybody else do that? I'm like, well, it's not that this one was ever like one I wasn't interested in. I just, had kind of scratched the itch with other things. And then this one is announced and I'm like, well, clearly I need them both because gotta catch them all, I guess. I don't know. We'll see. I'm super intrigued by both. Curious about the idea of combining them. We'll talk about that more as we go through the video, but I have ideas, I have thoughts. I don't know if they'll work together or if they'll be too massive. I don't know. We're going to see, but I'm really excited to dip into these. And to be completely fair, despite the fact that I've heard people talking really positively about the Wisdom of the Shadow, I've actually never watched a full walkthrough of the deck or done any deep diving into it. So I think I'm going to start off with Wisdom of the Shadow and then dip into Wisdom of the Divine Feminine in this video because that's kind of the order they came out in. So I will, of course, have timestamps down below. So if you've already seen and researched Wisdom of the Shadow and just want to skip ahead to my thoughts on Wisdom of the Divine Feminine, you can. And then I'll probably have a bit in the end about kind of discussing them both. So that's what I'm thinking for the format of this video. But, my videos are very fly by the seat of my pants. So we'll see how it unfolds. But if you're new here, welcome. My name is Lisa. I love to make content all about tarot and oracle and divination and sometimes a little sprinkling of self-worth or witchcraft, that sort of stuff. So if that is up your alley, definitely hit the subscribe button down below. Hang out with us here. We make lots of fun content, sometimes just me, sometimes me and my wife Peggy. It's a whole fun hangout. So if that sounds good, just, hit the button, do the thing. So let's get into it. The first deck I want to talk about, as I mentioned, is the Wisdom of the Shadow. It says it's an oracle for self-discovery, soul work, and transformation. Now, before I get into the deck itself, quick note on production quality stuff. Both decks come in these beautiful magnetic open boxes with the book on top and a little ribbon lift out. And then the cards in a single tray. It's a cardboard tray. Sometimes these hold up better than other times, but mine seems to have survived shipping to Canada, which is amazing. And it says inside the Wisdom of the Shadow box, "Welcome, wise one. Within you lies a gold mine of truth, ready to be discovered and integrated. With an open mind and a courageous heart, it is time to enter the mystery of the shadow, to uncover the wisdom waiting to be revealed." That is exciting. So the guidebook, which we will get into in more detail in a little bit, looks not insubstantial, which I guess is a double negative, but it looks substantial. It looks chunky. It looks good. We'll see when we get there. And then the cards. Oh, look at the backings of this deck. So pretty. And it has these it almost doesn't, it's a black edging, but it's a glossy black. So it's like usually when we see black edges on commercial decks, you can see I can get my ring light reflecting in it that way. Usually when we see this kind of black edging, it's matte, and I really like the effect of this kind of almost gunmetal black edging. Really cool. And then that's what our inside box looks like with our little ribbon. Again, it feels really sturdy and solid inside, not the kind of thing that's gonna fall apart on you. So that's cool if you like to keep your decks on a shelf, which I may do with these, but we'll see. How many cards does it say? 44. So the two decks combined, if I combine them, is this one also 44? Yeah, they're both 44, so it would be an 88 card deck. More on that in a bit. Okay, wait, no, now I want to read the back of the box. So it says, "Hidden in plain sight is the wisdom we seek most deeply. This 44 card deck and book set invites you on an inner journey to explore and integrate the shadowy layers of yourself in order to find greater awareness, self-acceptance, clarity, inner peace, and wholeness." So in this case, Jessica Ricchetti is the author and Jenny Han is the illustrator. So that is what we're talking about here. Beautiful, production quality. And the cardstock feels, This feels really good. It feels a little bit like, it feels a little smoother than the Prairie Majesty Oracle, the Indie Edition. It feels like it's probably like a 350, maybe 330, but this big of a card, it's probably 350 GSM. It's matte cardstock, feels really nice and smooth. And yeah, so has some nice bend to it. We'll do a shuffle test on just the single deck, and then if I end up combining, we'll do that. I noticed at first glance, and this may bug me, I'm just going to take a look in the guidebook, but it seems like we're starting. Okay, we are. I'm going to take a quick second and just reorder the deck because the book goes in alphabetical order, but the deck arrived in reverse alphabetical order. Actually, no, you know what? We can just do it this way. Lisa can get over herself. Let's do it this way. We'll just flip them as we go so we can start with the beginning and then go through. So that's what we're going to do. Again, beautiful backings. Look at the detail. It's like looking into a portal. It's like you're looking down into a cavern. You know what it reminds me of? This is going to be strange, but just come with me on this journey. In the Light Seers Tarot, check this out. Doesn't this portal look a little bit like what the Magician is engaging with in the Light Seers Tarot? I mean, maybe that's just in my head, but it looks like that to me. It looks like a pool of depth, like a portal or a pool. It's hard to describe what I'm feeling when I look at that, but it definitely feels like a gateway or an entrance into the depths. And what's really cool about that is that the darkness lies at the surface, and then down into the center is where it gets golden and bright and beautiful. And to me, that's kind of what the point of shadow work is. It's diving beneath the shadows where you've hidden these things about yourself. Sometimes they are positive qualities about yourself. Sometimes they are neutral. Sometimes they're negative or things that you perceive as negative. And I talk about this perception I have, or my understanding of shadow work, in my book, The Self-Worth Path. But it's a really important part of my own personal growth work to do that work of sort of diving into the shadow, finding those things about oneself that we've hidden, and then pulling it back out, bringing it into the light. And that's kind of what this makes me feel like. You can also think of this in the reverse, where you're in the shadows, kind of, and this is like looking up, kind of like Ariel underwater, looking up towards the sun shining on the surface of the sea, and you're bringing it up, you're bringing yourself up out of the shadow into the light. I mean, that's a lot of babble about the back of the cards, but that's just kind of what it made me think of, given the context of the deck. So we're just going to flip through. I'm going to give some thoughts on the artwork and the cards, and then we'll take a look at the guidebook, and I may cheat and look at the guidebook throughout. We're just going to get into it. So we're starting off with authenticity. Oh man, I love this so much. So actually, the very first thing this makes me think of is in my Self-Worth Path video series I actually did a video talking about a ritual where you take all of the labels that maybe people have put on you, and you decorate a mask with all of those labels, and then you symbolically take the mask off, right? This is what this reminds me of. This, look at this, pick me, love me forever. Just all these different things. This is exactly what it feels like when you're not in your authenticity. There's all this noise, and then right at the center, it says, I am here, right here. That is so powerful. Okay, I'm loving that. Oh my gosh, that's really amazing. That's a really strong start. Authenticity is a huge part of shadow work, I think. Balance. I love the idea that the figure in this card, while they're in tree pose, they don't appear to be a perfected body in any way. Just more of an amorphous figure in a way. And then the light glowing at the heart center. Boundaries. Oh my God, this is so powerful. Get the bleep away from me. I love that so much. Yes, I just bleeped myself because I'm lazy and don't want to bleep myself in editing. This is so... Oh, I'm having such feelings about this because I've had to do so much work around boundaries, and first realizing I deserve to have them in the first place. And then secondly, learning how to protect them and guard them and communicate them and all of that kind of thing has been such a hard, long, difficult journey. And this speaks to the way it feels when you're first trying to figure out how to do that, because it feels like this internally and you don't know. Oh my God, I'm going to get emotional. I'm more like 3 cards in. You just don't know how to do it, right? Oh, really interested to see how the book handles that. That makes me feel very seen. Okay, next. Change. Oh, what am I seeing here? This is interesting. It almost feels like, what I'm thinking of instead of change more is like, almost like individuality. I feel like there's like this sea of people, and then that concept of sameness of everybody is kind of melting away. That idea that it's like dissolving on the artwork. But I don't know if that's what it's really supposed to be depicting. This one seems a little less clear to me at first glance, but that's what it made me feel when I looked at it. Confusion. Yes. I mean, what is confusion? It's feeling segmented. It's feeling lost. Yeah, pieces of you are not cohesive. There's separation. Wow. And I like that these pieces down at the root here of this figure are heart-shaped. Connection, yes. The light between two people. Courage. Facing your fears, going towards the light despite all of these things trying to deter you from your path, trying to steer you off course, scare you away from the work. Dependency. Oh my goodness. It's so interesting to see how someone would illustrate these various concepts, because there's a lot here. Discomfort. This. Discomfort is such a huge piece of shadow work for me personally. It's through the discomfort and in the discomfort that I found so much of the treasure in my personal growth path. It's learning how to move into and through discomfort, not even really through it so much as literally diving into it, like the back of this card. Like finding the gold at the heart of discomfort has been incredibly powerful and important for me in my journey, because so much of the good stuff is lying at the heart of that discomfort. Yeah. Disillusion. Wowza. I'm so interested in the guidebook, but I really want to get through the artwork first without kind of preconceived ideas about it. Doubt. And she's underwater. Like she's drowning, but she doesn't know how to change things about herself. She's holding herself back. She's in her own head about it, and she doesn't know how to move forward, and so she sinks. Oh my gosh. Emotion. It's not clear emotion, is it? And we bottle and we let it build up, and then everything gets kind of internally explosive. You can see it's kind of rising up in heat up towards the throat and the way that we are going to communicate, right? That emotion builds up and then it starts to come out in ways we don't want it to come out. To me, that's a really interesting part of shadow work. Emptiness, that hole at the center of the heart chakra area. Oh my God. Wowza. Jessica, Jenny. Oh my gosh. Oh, this one. Oh my gosh, I can't. This is this deck. Expectations. But she's doing the best that she can. Wouldn't you like to get to know her better? That's silly. You're working her to death. We have to do better. Or else will something not good enough. You are loved. Work harder, work harder. Hustle culture is here. Oh, that's so much. It's a lot. Fear. Yes, right here. Right here in the belly and up here in the mind. And all these voices speaking into those hotbeds of fear. Oh my gosh. I'm not even paying attention to how this is showing up on camera. So hopefully everything's in focus and stuff. I'm just kind of in my own journey here. Frustration. The way that it's building and cycling here. Becomes all that we feel. Oh, greed. My life, my time, my win, my lover, my car, my attention, my daddy, my body, my money, my world. Wowza. Grief. This drowning in it, this fear of giving into it or experiencing it and letting it, and the real feeling that if you give way to it, it will just, you'll drown, you'll die, it'll be the end. It's such a, I know this sounds so dramatic, but I just feel like this is connecting me right to that part of myself that's had these experiences and that kind of remembers and knows where it and how it kind of fits in with my shadow work. Identity. I love the Gorgon feel here. I love the fierceness. Wow. So curious about the guidebook. Inner child. Oh, curled up. Do you see that? Curled up in the center is the inner child, but it's faint. I like that it's faint. I like that the idea is that you have to go looking for it, right? Like it's not apparent because this is shadow work. This is an area probably of neglect, right? So we don't see it. It's there, hiding, curled up, needing attention, but we haven't been giving it that. So it's hidden in a way. Oh, come on. It's funny. They're not slippery. They're slidey enough. This is good news because it means it's the kind of matte cardstock where they're going to shuffle, go together really nicely without friction. But they don't feel slippery. Like, they don't feel slippery, even though they look like they're being slippery. Integration. Okay, this is perfect because here we have at the center this sort of shadow being or this center being that's been buried, suppressed, and it's beginning to sort of meld with the self. Intrusion. This can hit so many. I mean, in reality, some of these cards could and likely will be, if working with these cards rather, could be incredibly triggering in the sense that this kind of card really speaks to why we need boundaries, right? Like where intrusiveness can be, or intrusion can be an issue of intrusive thoughts. It can be an issue with recollections. It can be an issue with other people not minding your boundaries in real tangible ways, but also in intangible or less tangible, quantifiable ways. Judgment. All these words that we see on the artwork is just, what does that say? Ugh. No. Really interesting. Letting go. This, letting it free you up, like getting it off of you. That's what I see in that artwork. Very emotive artwork by Jenny for sure. Metamorphosis. The cocooning, the process of becoming. Opening the door. This is, of course, the same image. It's on the cover of the box and the guidebook. Really beautiful image. Pain. This is interesting because it gives me the feeling, it seems like it's kind of connected to the spine here. There's almost a nerve-like look to what's happening down here. In the hands, the way that the thumbs are lit up, it kind of could speak to somebody who has chronic pain, the nerve endings being all lit up like that. This could literally speak to physical pain. That's what I think of the most when I see this, is physical pain, but it can be all kinds of pain. The feeling of rawness, of sensitivity, that's what I get from this image. Panic. Oh yes, this is what it feels like. Yep. Wow, I don't even have words, but that's what it feels like. Just like everything is big and chaotic and a lot. Rage. Man. And oh my gosh, look at this. Okay, so really, really emotive rage image, but in the center, in tiny, tiny words, I'm pretty sure, let's see if I can get it to focus, that says, please hold me. Please hold me. Pretty sure that's what that says. Maybe that's just what I'm seeing. Reflection. Resilience. Healing the shattered heart is what I see in that image. Resistance. Interesting. The way that this looks like a road, and the way that this person is like in front of that path, like unwilling to take a chance, take a risk. Oh, I felt that. Okay. Rising. Very Phoenix energy in this card, which I think is appropriate for this deck in general. Sadness. Wowza. Self-embrace. I'm so glad that I bought this deck. There's a lot of similarities in this type of work with the Reclaim Oracle, but it has a much more, I mean, they're both very emotive, pokey decks, which I like because I like doing this kind of work and I like it to be guided in a way because it feels less like I'm floundering through it. I like that sensuality is in here because we often have so many shadows in this region of life, the ability to like let go, to give over to sensation, the loss of control. There's so many things around sensuality in general, the body shame. There's so many things you can unpack in this area, but I'm glad that it's in here. I probably interrupted myself 17 times. If you're not following, I apologize. I'm very much in my space. Shame, this is exactly what it feels like. You just feel so small. So small. Soul care. Wow. Tending to the spiritual self. That's what I see there. Tenderness. Yes. Truth. You know, it's funny, when I saw this artwork, you know, in bits and pieces on the internet or whatever. It just didn't, I didn't sit with it. So it didn't hit me. But this is really great. Victory. This is such a huge shadow for, first of all, look at all these people. So this person's standing here celebrating their victory, and all these other people are struggling, trying to hold on to this person's victory, like trying to hold on or pull themselves up. There's multiple ways you can look at this, right? You can look at it as being on top and forgetting that there's other people struggling that you could help. Not that you're obligated to, but that's something that I see, right? Like I see this feeling of like, yeah, celebrate how far you've come, but remember that there's people that are still struggling. Like, you know, there's so many places you can go with that. Voice. Wowza. Gosh, using our voice can be so scary. Vulnerability. And this reminds me, there was another card in here. Was it tenderness? I guess kind of has that same feeling too. But there was another, wait, what have I done here? Guys, you can tell I'm in it when I can't even like, was it shame? Yeah, there's so much here. It's like you feel like you have to be tough. Yeah, look at me, love me. Will I be alone? Will I die alone? Am I enough? Will I be forgotten? Did I make a mistake? Oh my God, this is going to just hit people really hard, I think. And then wisdom. Oh my gosh. Okay. Woo. Phew. Okay, let's zoom out for a second. I'm going to shuffle so we get a feeling of the shuffle of this deck. Lovely. It's got more, less give than it feels. Like when you hold an individual card, it feels like it's going to be really bendy. It's not that it's not bendy, but it's got more structure than it feels like when you're just holding a single card. But you can see, hopefully you can see, I can get quite a bit of bend out of them when I'm shuffling them. So now keep in mind I have stronger hands, but they don't feel thick and unwieldy. If you're familiar with Blue Angel's new cardstock, it does not feel that thick or that stiff, if that gives you context. So I'd be curious what the core is because I'm a nerd and I just wonder about these things. Because it does feel like as I'm shuffling, I don't know if you'll be able to see that. It does seem like the cards do end up keeping a little bit of the bend, just a little bit, from the shuffle. Whew, okay, so I'm going to just do a quick little sample fan so we can get a feel for that. Beautiful fan, but I felt that. It's clumping a little bit, but hardly at all considering it's a matte cardstock. But it's a nice matte that has some slidiness to it without being slippery. Let's pull a card and see what the guidebook looks like. So here we have Panic. I'm not surprised that that would come up for me. So we have Wisdom of the Shadow. So let's just take a look. So there's like a blessing in the beginning. I will leave that to you to discover if you purchase this deck, but it looks beautiful. I'm going to enjoy it on my own. So we have a table of contents that is in alphabetical order, but also gives us numbered pages so that we can quickly flip to where we want to flip to. There's a preface, which I'm very much looking forward to reading, as well as the introduction. Working with the Wisdom of the Shadow. Okay, there's no right or wrong way to engage with this oracle. I love that that's where it starts, and then it gives you some ideas of how you can work with it. Some shadow exploration tips, which is really cool. Love that. Safely explore your own edges at your own pace. This work is often uncomfortable. Notice what feels edgy and then feel it is safe to explore. If you're wanting to turn away or notice resistance, check in to see if you're being met by your own challenge and if it may be supportive to stretch yourself a bit. But I will add to this. I was about to do the thing and it did it for me. Thank goodness. So the third tip down is about knowing when to reach for support and professional guidance. This work is not intended to replace professional medical or mental health support. It goes on from there, but it's really important to know this kind of work is not A, for the faint of heart, and B, it can be not safe for some people to try to do this on their own or to do this if it brings up a really big emotion for them. I find it really beneficial to do this kind of work, but it's worth mentioning that I've been doing this kind of work very intentionally since I was like 21, 22 years old. That's around the time that I started really consciously doing this work, or this type of work. And I had no idea what I was doing then, but I started to build some, I don't want to say resistance, but some, not resistance, not comfort, and not desensitization. It's just that I got practice at it, I guess you could say. And so I know what the sensations feel like. I know what my edges are. I know what my limits are. That's probably about the best way to put it. It's really important if you're doing this kind of work to be mindful of your limits and to not push yourself beyond what you're capable of handling, what is not even capable, but what you're prepared to handle, because sometimes it's just too much. So more ideas for working with the oracle, contemplations and rituals, ways to amplify your rituals, card spreads. So we have, oh, nice. So there's like 1, 2, 3, 4 spreads. And then we get into the cards and their core essences. So let's go to the panic card so we can see what this looks like. Oh, there's rituals in here. Okay, this is cool. Let's just see. There's been a little bit of panic for me lately, so I'm curious to see what it says about it. Oh, I did the thing where I broke my binding, but it does lay nicer this way. Some of you guys are probably like, oh my God, Lisa. I might as well just go with it now. So yeah, I'll do that in a couple places just to, okay, there we go. What's the point if I'm not going to use it? All right. So this says that the art is actually called The Panic Attack, which is super interesting. Let me just keep this over here so we can go through this. So there is the title of the card, a tiny little grayscale thumbnail, and then a quote like looks like a message of some kind. Then we have a bunch of keywords, and then we have a longer description, some contemplations, which to me look very much like journal prompts, and then a ritual. So let's take a look at this. It says, I meet sensations of panic with a grounded, gentle presence. I breathe in and take a deeper look. The keywords are turmoil, angst, fear, chaos, the weight of expectations and judgment drawing down the heart and gut, cutting the cords that pull, inner jumble of feeling, twisting, turning, crawling inside, pins and needles, constriction, splayed open, reaching. Sudden overwhelm in our system is felt viscerally, with or without cause, when a burst of angst, fear, or high stress arises. It can catapult one into hysterical feelings or thoughts. It isn't just in our minds. The body rushes in an automatic response. Our mind and body are intrinsically intertwined. Agreed. What happens to the mind when the body begins to feel charged, static, heart racing, sick with angst, nervousness, or jumbled uncertainty in the gut? What happens to the body when the mind races, irrational thoughts pervade, fear arises, and overwhelm hits? One feeds the other. It can be difficult to decipher the root. It can turn into a self-perpetuating spiral, amplifying the very panic itself. Oh, spiral is exactly how I describe it. It can be frightening to feel an inability to breathe or think with the fullest coherence. While we can't control every situation, we can learn to repattern how we meet panic and stress when they arise. In times of high stress, angst, or panic, how does your body feel viscerally in response? In times where your heart races or you feel uneasy for no apparent reason, does the mind swoop in and create more stress? Consider ways to pause, breathe, ground, and self-soothe when the body and mind are at odds. So the contemplations here are, when do I notice myself feeling overwhelmed or panicky? How do I soothe myself in high-stress moments? And when I notice angst or panic in my body, how do I respond? The ritual. Ground the nervous system. Oh, okay, I'm going to have opinions about this because I have feelings about the nervous system and how to work with it because of years of yoga and such. Okay, Ground the nervous system with your own rooted touch. Sit in a comfortable seat. Notice how you feel. Give your feet firm compressions using your whole hand. This is very good. Grasp and squeeze. It doesn't need to be massagey. Squeeze and let go every few seconds. Now, this is about getting into your physical body, because when you're in panic and your nervous system is in panic, you need to bring yourself to a place where you can notice physical sensations that are neutral, and that's what this is. This is like letting you notice the sensation of touch, and bringing yourself into awareness of that sensation can ground you in your body, can bring you back into your body, particularly if you are, I don't want to say dissociating, but if you are pulling yourself, like panic can often disconnect you from your sensations of your body. That's the best way to put it. Start at the feet, move to ankles, legs, knees, thighs, hips, buttocks, sides, back, chest, shoulders, arms, and hands. Now, I would argue and say, for many people, the reason you start with the feet is because the feet is farthest from the vulnerable parts of yourself. So anywhere around the midsection, the heart, anything in more intimate areas of your body are going to feel way more vulnerable. Your face is going to feel vulnerable, that sort of thing. Starting with the feet is a way to not alarm the body. For some people, stopping at the feet would probably be really good too. You might just start and stop at the feet and not go any further. Anyways, use fingertips to gently press around the face, eyebrows, sides of the jaw, and temples. Again, you might not go that far. Gently tug the ears and give yourself a slow, deliberate scalp massage. Squeeze each part of your body from multiple angles. Notice how you feel after. Use as a tool in moments of need. Now, the idea of like this physically connecting to your entire body sounds really good, and I'm not saying it's not good. But again, consider if remember with these rituals, I guess I'll say, the caveat I would offer, because I'm opinionated about these things, is to consider that not everybody will want to go to those more vulnerable places. So it can work just by concentrating on the feet or the breath, just something to get you into your body, out of that panicky, swirly feeling. Going this far could be really challenging to people with body issues, body disconnect. So just keep that in mind. I'm not saying it right, but just know that, yeah, I felt like I needed to caveat that, which I guess I don't, but that's my opinion on it. Anyway, in general, really, really good exercise for getting into your body. It makes me curious about some of the other ones. Let's see. Let me find one for another more triggery word. Let's go to that boundaries one, because that one brought up some feels. This video is going to be long, and I don't care. Okay, I'm not going to even worry about the artwork for a second. I'm just curious about the ritual. Gather 2 pieces of paper and something to write with. On one paper, draw a large square. Inside the square, list all the things that you are a yes to for your own body, energy, and what is allowed within your boundaries, connections, relationships, energies, feelings you want more of. On the other paper, write all things that are a no and not allowed within your boundaries. Tear the no sheet into little pieces and place them outside of your yes boundary sheet. This is smart. Feel what it is like to assert your boundaries and to discern your yes, no. There's a tiny typo there because it says feels. But this is great as a visual representation of what your boundaries might look like, particularly if you're having trouble discerning them. So far, just looking at 2 card examples, I'm really liking the tone of this. I'm really liking the feeling of it. It feels quite intense. I can't imagine working with more than 1 card at a time. So let me put this one away for a moment and let's dip into the Wisdom of the Divine Feminine and see what the feel of that deck is like. And then maybe I'll talk about using them together afterwards. Does anybody else find that sometimes the ribbon just wants to like hang out outside? It's fine. I'm having a whole moment here. Okay, good enough. All right, let's get into Wisdom of the Divine Feminine. Same exact box experience. And this one says, welcome, dear one. Within you lives a boundless potential to support the greatest expression of your desires. With an open heart and trust in your path, it is time to more deeply embrace your beautiful wholeness and fully embody the wisdom of the Divine Feminine. So it's just like before. I'm going to pull the book out to the side. And this one, look at the backs of this one. So whereas the shadow felt like you were looking into some depth portal with some sort of shadowy stuff around the side, almost like a snake skin indicating transformation. This one looks like you're looking up into the glittering cosmos. This looks like maybe the kind of thing you would see when they talk about go into the light, at the end of life. It feels like you're looking into a portal that's leading you to universal wholeness or divinity, which I think is right on par with the theme of the deck. And the edging on this one is a really pretty kind of brassy gold. So it's got a slightly more orange tone to the gold. It's not like a bright yellow gold. It's more like an orangey, brassy gold, which I think is really pretty and really works with the warmer tones on the backs here. We've got this kind of almost sunset vibe going with the purple and yellow and orange. So this really works. It's pretty. Same exact cardstock. So we've already spoken about that with the Wisdom of the Shadow. And just like before, I'm going to start zoomed in with the backs facing up, and we're going to flip through them since they are in alphabetical order in reverse if it's face up. So this is how we're going to go through it. Allies. Ooh, I enjoy this. This has a very different feel already. It feels crisper in a way. At least this first image does. It feels more, definitely less chaotic, which makes sense because, of course, we're not dipping into the shadow, I don't think, the same way in this deck. Beauty. Oh, what a beautiful counterbalance so far to the shadow deck. It really does make me want to mix them, not going to lie. I can't wait to see what they look like shuffled together. Blossoming. I love this. It feels like the Wisdom of the Shadow kind of spirals you into yourself, and then this deck spirals you back out, which, okay, I know I've been talking about my book a lot, but this deck makes me think of the work that I talked about in my book, which is why I keep mentioning it, and I'm so sorry if that's obnoxious. But the mental image I had with the self-worth path was this idea of taking a labyrinth trip deeper and deeper into yourself, and then spiraling back out. So when I said that about this deck, it just felt really like a cool overlap, a cool synchronicity is the word I'm looking for. Collaboration. Yes, this feels very much like taking that tough work, those tough lessons of the shadow, and learning how to engage outward with the world. Community is so pretty. Beautiful. Compassion, yes. When we face our own inner stuff, we have more room to connect with others, more room to expand outward. This is stunning. I love the Gaia feel of this, the feeling that it's more cosmic and universal. Love that. Cycles, this connection with the moon and the trees and the seasons and the roots. And oh, I love it so much. Devotion. Oh, that's such a beautiful image. Oh my God, I haven't sat down. I haven't sat down to film a walkthrough in a little bit now. And oh, this just feels really good. It's probably not going to look that way to you because I do walkthroughs regularly on my channel, but sometimes I film them in bursts. Sometimes, you know, it just depends. But this just feels like such a beautiful way to come back to this. Discernment. Love that we get some crone energy here. That makes me really happy. A lot of times in these divine feminine themed things, they feel very youthful, very maideny, sometimes at most mothery. This, I love seeing the crone energy in there. That makes me really happy. Ease. Yes, this feels like balm after the shadow work. It's interesting because I'm tempted to go, maybe I want to work with them in combination, but not necessarily like shuffled randomly together. I'm curious to see embodiment. It might be interesting to do one shadow pull, do that work, and then follow it up with a pull, like do it as a combination, especially if there's rituals in this one too. I could see pulling a shadow work card and working through those journal prompts and that ritual, and then also pulling a divine feminine card and working through those prompts and that ritual, and kind of finishing on this note could feel very healing and beautiful. This is actually the a silhouette of a female form, which is really cool. Encouragement, yes. Self or others. Expression. Much different in this feeling, this expression card, than in the voice card in the shadow deck, where it's a struggle. We're getting your words out. It's something you have to fight for. Here it's flowing. There's flow. Fierceness. Yes. Again, this feels, contrasting this with like the rage card from the Wisdom of the Shadow, this feels empowered, and it feels empowered. It feels full of agency, sovereignty, whereas the rage card was a boiling over of feeling small and not handling it maybe in the best way. Here we see it powerful and strong. Oh, I love the flow card. That's beautiful. Yes, harmony. Freedom. Again, when you juxtapose this with some of the shadow cards, it's really interesting. I'm kind of curious. How am I going to do that? Wait, I might see if I can find a way to do a bit of a comparison. I'm curious if these themes, well, actually, let's just check. I can't focus. Okay, let's just pick one. So card number, I'm cheating. I know. I said I wasn't going to look at the guidebook yet. Okay, so embodiment is card 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 12. Card 12 is embodiment in Wisdom of the Divine Feminine. Again, just humor me for a moment. And in the Wisdom of the Shadow, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Emotion. Okay. I was curious if they were going to like overlap. I don't know. Just ignore me. Ignore me. It's fine. Grounding. Oh, I love this. Harmony. Harmony and flow feel very similar to me energetically. There's flow and there's harmony. Actually, artistically, they feel very, very different, but the words remind me of one another. This feels more like a balanced set of chakras or something. Humility. Yes. Introspection. Love this. It's not the same as shadow work, but it can lead to shadow work. Intuition. Love that. Love the gut feeling, the heart feeling here. Joy. Oh, that is such a stunning card. I love it so much. Life force. Interesting. Love. Mystery. Nature. I like that. It sort of speaks like the cycle of life, or like the Sabbats. I know there's more spokes there than there are of the Sabbats. It's just one of the things that jumps out at me. Nurture. Passion. Yes, in the center. Pleasure. Potential. Love that. Like a glowing seed. Love that. Power. presence, radiance, rawness, receiving, ripeness. Love the fruit, like the citrus feel to that card. I love it. Sacred union. So beautiful. And this is the same art as we have on the cover of the book and the box. Sovereignty, one of my favorite words for embodiment and agency and personal power. Transformation. Trust. Like she's out in the rain. I love that. Visions. Almost looks like this figure is being held in the hands of the earth, like they're being held. Wellspring and wholeness. Okay, so, okay, let me give this one a shuffle. And we're going to take a look at the two decks side by side first, just to see what that feels like. Well, I said I was going to let me look at the guidebook first. I think it's going to have a similar format, but let's just double check. You've gotten a feeling for the writing style with the Wisdom of the Shadow, so I'm probably not going to focus too much on the book in this one. So we have another blessing here. Same format. How it began, the author and the artist's perspective. Love that. Then the intro. Beyond binaries. Okay. I love that they addressed this because one of the feelings I was feeling getting through this is that there's a lot of like feminine or female presenting figures. There's nothing wrong with that, but I appreciate that they are addressing it here. I don't know what they're saying. But they're specifically talking about getting away from binary and that the divine feminine can exist in all. I think that's really powerful and beautiful, and I'm sure there are a lot of people that are going to really appreciate that being in there. A tiny note about the divine. And then we get into the, amplifying your work with the wisdom of the divine feminine. Yeah. This part is set up very similarly. It talks about the rituals, how to amplify your rituals. More card spreads. Okay. So, I'll just do one for a sample, but I'm probably not going to read the whole thing. Mystery. Let's go to mystery. It looks like it's set up exactly the same way as the Wisdom of the Shadow, and I just did the thing again. I'm sorry if that makes anybody cringe. Okay, it is a stitch-bound book, by the way, so I'm not as scared of that, like, messing up the glue of the pages. Again, I'm sorry if this freaks you out, but I want to be able to open this up and not fight with it. But it's perfect bound. I probably wouldn't have needed to, but look, it's just a thing that happened. Okay, anyway. So same thing as before. There's a little quote here. It says, I allow the mystery to swirl through my being. I sink deeply into the mystery, and I remember we are one. Bunch of keywords, a whole big write-up. Contemplations. Am I saying yes to trusting the mystery right now? What can I do to honor the mystery as bigger than myself? When do I feel the mystery swirling within my body? The swirl. The ritual. Whisper in your hands anything you wish to release to become closer to the mystery. Doubt, control, worry, etc. Blow it out of your body into your hands and then pat your hands on the floor, discharging it from your body. Then whisper into your hands intentions to deepen in the mystery. Examples. I sink into the mystery. I trust in the mystery. I don't have to do anything. I just get to be. I let myself be uncertain and in flow. Press those blessings into your body with your hands all over. Now, again, all over. Again, speaking as somebody who has talked to a lot of people with body issues, maybe not all over. Maybe somewhere where it feels accessible and safe. But feel it with all senses. Trust that it is so, and so it is. Thank yourself. Really powerful healing stuff in these decks. Okay, really excited about that. I'm going to set the guidebook to the side and pull out Wisdom of the Shadow. Hurrow? Okay, there we go. Set those to the side. Okay, so before I try mixing them together, a couple things I want to see. First off, how thick. Oh, that doesn't feel so bad together. So it doesn't feel like it'd be too. Yeah, I can definitely get my hands around each deck pretty easily. So I feel like, yes, I feel like I'll be able to shuffle them. But before I do that, I want to just sort of cut these somewhere randomly. And then flip them over and see what we think of the shadow on the left and the feminine on the right. Zoom in and see what we think about them in harmony with one another. So here we have balance and cycles. Ooh, judgment and trust. So again, if you're doing this in harmony, right? Judgment, where is judgment? Where am I battling with this? And then leaning into trust. Where do I need to practice soul care so that I can experience more pleasure? This might be a really great way to work on this. Reflection leads to passion. Yes, this is so trippy. Okay, you guys heard me talking about these two cards and how they contrasted one another and how this feels like the embodied, powerful version of the Rage card. I spoke about this. Or maybe I spoke about the, I might have spoke about the Voice card instead. I can't remember now. I might have been speaking about the Voice card, but this is a very, very cool juxtaposition because really at their surface, these cards are both doing the exact same thing, but one is in shadow and one is in light. And, you know, one is in power, one is in empowerment and embodiment, and one is in shadow. And so working with these cards in harmony with one another is really potent. And I'm really tempted. I want to see what they look like shuffled together. So I'm probably going to do that, but I'm actually really tempted to work with these in a pair. Exactly like this, confusion and then transformation. Because I feel like it gives you the shadow work, but then it gives you something beautiful to lean into, from dissolution to creation. Like this is a really powerful emotion to expression. I mean, look at how these are working together. I'm getting goosebumps. When this happens, it's like, no, clearly this was, maybe I'm not even going to bother shuffling them together. Because look at this. Look at this. It's the exact same power pose. One, again, is in shadow. One is in sovereignty. One is in power. One is embodied. Change and nurture. Inner child and nature. They literally seem to play off one another. Look at this. Self-embrace and sacred union. Resistance and compassion. Intrusion and encouragement. I could do this all damn day. Fear and ripeness. Look at the body language differences. Shame and mystery. Oh my gosh. Panic and love. Oh. Vulnerability and receiving. These work to, you see what I see, right? Somebody comment down below and tell me you see what I see. Because this is really, really potent stuff. Greed and life force together. Discomfort and embodiment. Oh. I don't know what to say. Sadness and joy. Like, I shuffled both of these piles individually, and I actually checked to see if they're alphabetical order paired, juxtaposing ideas together. And okay, so Jessica, Jenny, if either of you end up watching this video, if it's not already addressed in the book, and maybe it is, I'm just, this is first impressions. If it is addressed in the book, I would love to hear, was this, I assume some of this was intentional, if not all of it, but are these actually in, you don't have to tell me, but if you feel like telling me or telling us, it's clearly all about me right now. But if you feel like telling us, I would love to hear, did you intentionally juxtapose these themes and these artworks so that they do sometimes work in opposites or in pairs like the way that I'm seeing? Wow. Look at the difference in feeling too. I mean, the artwork is so powerfully conveys truth and intuition. I mean, these expectations and radiance. This is powerful stuff, and I really don't want to shuffle them together, even though I kind of want to see what they look like. I don't think I'm going to, actually. Energetically, I just don't feel like it's what I want to do. Courage and presence. I want to work with them side by side like this. I feel like this is where they're going to be the most powerful. I am going to initially, I think, work with them individually, and then work with them together and see. But I'm really blown away by these. I'm like going through the whole thing again. Okay, we don't need to do that, but hopefully you get the idea what's happening. I mean, even here, look at this. Authenticity with all these various voices and these different, and then discernment. The way that these work together energetically, I just want to keep going. Voice and beauty, sensuality and allies. I feel like my instincts when I was going through the decks was that I felt like this is the tough stuff, and then the wisdom of the divine feminine can bring you back out again. Again, spiraling in and then spiraling out. I just put these on upside down. Okay. Am I going to shuffle them? Look at that. Okay, I do want to shuffle them apparently. Look at that perfect combined shuffle I got. Oh my gosh. Okay. Let's just see. Let me see what I think. I can't make up my mind. I feel like they work so beautifully together. But then again, if you're meant to draw a couple shadow in a row, I don't know. They look beautiful together though. Look at this. Gorgeous. someone shared in the Supportive Tarot Facebook group a video from a statistics or math expert or something talking about how the riffle shuffle is 7 times gives you the best randomness of shuffle of the various methods. It's kind of interesting. I'm really pleased at how easy it is to shuffle these together, and sometimes you can see the shadow clumps up or the divine feminine clumps up, but okay, let's just see. I'm going to do 3 cards, and we're just going to see what it looks like having them combined like this. Tenderness, identity, and these are both shadow. Oh, all shadow came out. And I'm just going to layer this just so we can see. So tenderness, identity, and doubt. And then we have allies, authenticity, shame. Flow, visions, intuition. So cool. Okay, I'm sold. I think I might keep them together. I'm a little tempted. I know I keep changing my mind, but I do feel like they kind of work harmoniously as well. I think it depends on how I was using them. I'm going to try pairing these with a tarot deck in my work this month and see what I think of working with them as a combined deck like that, and then decide from there if I want to, if I like the random idea that I could pull either a shadow or a divine feminine card. Loving the way they look together. I think that's really, really, really beautiful. I'm loving that. Super curious to hear your guys' thoughts. It was really powerful having them separated and side by side, so I could see myself going back to that. But I think I also want to try more of a luck of the draw situation where I could pull either one. It's really pleasant to me how easily these shuffle together. I was expecting to have to fight that more, but I don't have to fight it at all. It's really, really quite nice. And I love that you can see the light and the shadow intermingling. The different backings don't bother me, which is funny because I know I'm a total hypocrite because I've said that it bothers me in other decks, but this is intentional. It feels right to me somehow. I'll have to find the perfect Peggy bag from my stash or Peggy's stash for this, but I'm really, really excited. And then there's these 2 beautiful guidebooks. So when I'm working with these, I would have both of these guidebooks handy. I'm excited. I'm excited. I don't know what to say. I just want to look at, I'm staging. Can you see? I'm staging the photo right now. I have so many feelings and so many thoughts, and I don't know, but I'm so excited that I got a chance to look at these, and so pleased that I backed these on Kickstarter. No regrets whatsoever, which is always a good feeling. I've definitely had regrets before, so it's good to get something in and go, yes, this feels powerful, it feels good, it feels supportive of my work. I'm really excited about these. So I will keep you guys posted. Right now, I cannot imagine separating them, either like as in only working with one or the other. I feel like that doesn't feel right anymore. It feels like they are a pair. Whether I'm working with them by pulling a card from each deck or keeping them mixed up like this, I feel like they're really designed to work harmoniously with one another. That's how it feels. Again, I would love to hear feedback from the creators. I know Jessica at least is in my Facebook group, so hopefully she'll see this. I would love to get some more info from her or have a discussion with her about these because these feel really great. So anyways, I'm just babbling. I'm really excited. I'm really pleased that these feel so potent and so good and well done. I'm often a little bit dubious or nervous about this kind of deck because I have very strong feelings about this kind of work. Obviously, I've talked about my book a fair amount in this video because it literally sounds so stupid to say. No, it doesn't sound stupid. Don't talk about myself like that. It's difficult to verbalize, but my feelings about walking a self-worth path, doing shadow work, connecting with one's inner sovereignty, these kinds of concepts are very near and dear to my heart. They feel very much like my life work in a lot of ways. And so I'm very particular about how this kind of thing is done. And I'm very impressed by the themes explored in both of these decks and the ways in which they seem to work in harmony with one another. Like, well done, Jessica and Jenny. These are incredible. And what a gift to our community. So thank you for that. And thank you for putting your work out into the world because it's pretty incredible. So thank you all so much. I know I kind of got into like this very, like it was just me and the camera, which is, it technically is, I suppose. But I got very like focused on my reactions to the cards, and I hope this was beneficial to you watching this video if you've been considering either of these decks or both of these decks, just to kind of see somebody go through them in like a raw, vulnerable way. I hope that gave you some clues as to how you might experience this deck. Again, I would definitely caution you that this kind of, especially the themes explored in the Wisdom of the Shadow, could potentially be triggering kind of stuff. So, definitely know your limits, and if you do decide to do that kind of work, make sure that you know where those limits are, you explore those limits in a way that feels safe and comfortable for you, and you don't hesitate to reach out for support when and if you need it when you're doing that kind of work. Cannot stress it enough. It's super important. But in any case, I'm going to stop babbling. Thank you so much for hanging out with me while I explored both of these incredible decks, and I cannot wait to hear what you guys think in the comments down below, so do leave a comment. As always, please do click like on this video if you enjoyed it or you found value in it. Subscribe if you're new here, and don't forget to click that little notification bell so you're notified of all my future videos. Don't forget, we also have a channel membership. I have a channel membership called the Unicorn Fam, where we do extra content, we do extra things, including a monthly Self-Worth Saturday for our badass unicorns, where Peggy and I get together and we chat about self-worth stuff. We riff on a topic that is usually about doing personal work and personal growth work. So if that interests you, that is something you can do in there. We also have other tiers like the Magical Unicorns, where I do member readings once a month. I do an extra video on something divination or magical related. And we also have supportive unicorns. We have a book club, all that good stuff. I'm going to stop babbling about it, but you can check that out if you're interested. There will be a link to join in the comments, or excuse me, in the description box down below. As always, thank you again so much, and may your magic always shine from the inside out. Bye, guys!